So, I'm going to be reading this book, Forks Over Knives. I'll just read it. And I'm targeting 10 pages. So, let's do this. So, the foreword by T. Colin Campbell, PhD, and Cadwell B. Elstein, Junior MD. There are so many mosquitoes. Anyway, leave your drugs in the chemist's spot if you can cure the patient with food. Hippocrates. For more than 2,800 years, the concept of eating plants in their whole food form has struggled to be heard and adopted as a way of life. Although it is usually defended on ideological grounds, recent evidence now proves that this diet provides powerful personal health benefits as well. In fact, hi, welcome. So I'm reading a book, just reading and talking about it. So it's about adopting a plant-based diet. In fact, eating a plant-based diet has become an urgent matter from several perspectives. Not only can personal health be improved but also healthcare costs can be dramatically reduced. Thank you for the like. And various forms of violence to our environment and other sentient beings can be minimized. So the benefits of plant-based diets. Because this diet has so much to offer, we believe that the means must be found to share this information with as many people as possible, people of all persuasions and background, regardless of age, of gender, ethnicity, or geographical location. It doesn't matter where you are. A plant-based diet is a plant-based diet. Okay, one of the best ways to establish this is through sharing personal experiences and imagery, as in the film Forks Over Knives. Forks Over Knives is both a journey and a saga. The journey demonstrates how rapidly health can be restored without drugs, medications, or surgical procedures. The saga presents the individual tale of those who profound lifestyle changes have halted and even reversed serious diseases. Our nation's economic stability has been crumbling because of the burst of bubbles in technology and housing. This burden has been compounded by the spiraling health costs with no end in sight. Welcome. We are reading this book. Yet, as a nation, we are sicker, which is so true, and fatter than we have ever been. The epidemics of obesity and diabetes, especially in the young, forecast an economically unstable public health challenge and the gloomy prophecy that today's children may not outlive their parents. Do you know how weird that is? That our children are obese from a very young age, which means they will be affected by conditions that we ourselves do not have, such that they are at risk of, like their life, like how long they live, might not come to be. They might not live as long as the expected life expectancy. They might die young because they are getting conditions and diseases that you're having diseases that are not normal, like they are not normal for people in our generation. Okay, so we find that there's a figure here that is demonstrating the rise of obesity and weight among people. Okay, kindly like the live, I will appreciate it. All right, so the central protagonist of this dark scenario is the food industry and its profit demands. With billions of advertising and marketing dollars, it annually conjures and entices us with its dairy, meat, fish, poultry, and eggs. So all these are animal foods that the food industry keeps pushing on us. So basically, forks over knives means that we give up. You see, like whenever you're eating meat, you have to use a knife to cut. So, but when you are using a fork, it means it's probably most likely plant-based. Okay. So, let's continue. So this ceaseless assault achieves its goal of convincing a vulnerable and unprotected public to ingest food that will make them fat and sick. Obesity, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, strokes, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, lupus, gallstones, diverticulitis, osteoporosis, allergies, and asthma are but a few of the diseases of Western nutrition. This means that you see, when you're fat and sick and vulnerable, you are predisposed to a lot of conditions. And these are what they have listed here, from obesity or overweight, hypertension, diabetes, heart disease. There's so many conditions that you can suffer from because you are overweight. Okay, so we'll protect the public, not our government. It's not our government, it is us as individuals. Here is not where you say, oh, the government will support, oh, the government should do this, oh, the government should give us systems. No, no. It is you as an individual to decide that you are going to take forks over knives, right? If you have joined us, kindly like, and I will appreciate it. So we are reading this book together. So the US Department of Agriculture is the voice of the food industry. Every 5 years, it constructs nutrition guidelines for the public touting food that will generate ill health for millions. As in, it's so sad. Not the American Dietary Association, which is controlled by food corporations. That's something that you should know, that the different associations still control the food industry or the food corporations, not the insurance agency. So the question is, who will save us? Who will help us? Who will protect us? The insurance industry profits from selling plans to the sick, like medical insurance plans, not the pharmaceutical industry, which pockets billions annually from chronic illnesses, like selling medication for diabetes, hypertension, and the like. So they're not going to save us, not hospitals whose livelihoods depend on our diseases. You go to hospital to be treated, so they are depending on you to be treated, to go to hospital so that you pay for the treatment. Okay. Then, not the medical profession, in which doctors and nurses receive virtually no training in nutrition, which is so true, or behavioral modification, and are handsomely rewarded for administering drugs and employing technical expertise. And finally, not our medical research funding institutions. Too often, they focus on biological details, such as individual nutrients that can be exploited commercially for profit. Welcome, kindly give us a like. We are reading this book, Just Understanding Plant-Based Nutrition. Kindly like this live. If you can, share it out. As I'm reading, you listen, we discuss. You can discuss in the live chat. That will be really good. Okay? So, you, the two who are here, what do you think about a plant-based diet? Is it something you can adopt like completely for your life, or is still hard? It's still hard. You love meat, you love chicken, you love fish, you love your eggs and milk. So tell me in the chat and we talk it over. Okay? All right. So the primary focus of Forks Over Knives is whole foods, plant-based nutrition. The nutrition, the public needs new avenues to understand this message. And that is why this film is so important. So this was a film, and then they wrote a book, Forks Over Knives. They did a documentary, and then they wrote a book. So, a seismic revolution in health will not come from a pill, a procedure, or operation. It will occur only when the public is endowed with nutrition literacy, like what we are doing now. The kind of knowledge portrayed in Forks Over Knives is and highlighted by this book. Okay, so once you see the movie, we hope you will make the transition to this dietary lifestyle, the plant-based lifestyle. It may loom like a challenge, but it is only because so many of us have become addicted to diets high in fat, salt, and sugar that the adventure of eating foods that contain few of these ingredients may seem difficult. It isn't. Imagine eating a plant-based diet is possible if you stick to it and you are committed. Okay, we know from both anecdotal experience and from scientific literature that addictions can be resolved in a matter of weeks. Imagine just a few weeks, you are over the addiction. Okay, right. If you are joining us, kindly like the live. So stick with it, the plant-based diet. Eat well, and you will soon discover a whole new universe of gustatory pleasure, savoring new tastes never before recognized. Please try some of the recipes in this book to help you make this transition. Okay, it is with this thought in mind that we entrust you this idea and these recipes to set you on your path. And then it says, Bon appetit. Bon appetit. Okay, a further note specifically for heart disease patients. For heart disease patients and or those at risk of developing heart disease, eating a plant-based diet, kindly engage in the chat. Eating a plant-based diet is particularly crucial. Proper nutrition can only arrest the progress of coronary artery disease, but it can also reverse it. If you are a heart disease patient, I encourage you to read this my book, or the author's book. It's called Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease, the revolutionary scientifically proven nutrition-based. It's a book that he has authored. Okay, so the part 1 of the book, it's talked about good for health. How is a plant-based diet good for health? And there's a quote, 1/4 of what you eat keeps you alive. The other 3/4 keep the doctor alive. Can you believe that? Like just 1/4 keeps you alive. The other 3/4 is for the doctor to be alive. Good health. Throughout recorded history, health has been one of our most common preoccupations and most popular areas of research. In fact, the study of medicine predates written history. Yeah, it does. In 1991, the discovery of 5,000-year-old mummified body in northern Italy revealed the prehistoric societies had greater medical knowledge than once thought. Welcome, kindly like the live, share if you can. We are reading this book that is talking about a plant-based diet. So I'm a nutritionist. I just want to share the knowledge of how you can adopt a plant-based diet. If you can kindly like and engage in the chat section. Okay. All right. So they found that when they uncovered a 5,000-year-old mummified body, that people knew more about nutrition than we thought. The man, now known as Otzi the Iceman, had among his possessions a fungus that scientists discovered can kill internal parasites. The first palpable evidence of early human pharmacology. Okay, going back further in time, we know that shamans and healers used various plants and herbs, as well as magical chants and prayers as medication in the earliest societies on record. Every culture has some form of medicinal wisdom, although almost all the knowledge is lost to us today. Today, if you Google the word health, you will see about 2 billion results. Interest in health has probably never been greater than it is today. Imagine if you Google health, you get like 2 billion results. Okay, so health information is endemic in our culture. It's plastered on everything from cereal boxes to billboards, featured in magazines and newspaper articles, discussed on daytime talk shows and on the primetime news programs, and disseminated in costly newsletters and private seminars. Health-related books dominate the bestseller lists. Health-related products are sold everywhere, from drugstores to late night for commercials. Like those TV shows where they're selling things at night, you will still find people buying supplements, food products in those late night shows. Okay, you may think all this interest would result in good health for most people. It hasn't. It hasn't. Most Americans are sick, and I can say most Kenyans are sick. In the United States, one person is killed by heart disease every minute. Every minute, a person is dying from heart disease. Every single minute. That's in the US. What about in Kenya? Here, even the survey has not been done so well. So I believe probably it's more people. Maybe it could be more people. Yeah, people are perishing from heart disease. So if you have okay, every day 1,500 people die from cancer. Combined, these two diseases kill over 1 million people per year. The Centers for Disease Control estimate that 7 out of 10 deaths are from chronic diseases. Wow. 7 out of 10 are from chronic diseases. For Americans between the age of 45 and 65, the rate of suffering from 3 or more chronic diseases jumped from 13% in 1996 to 22% in 2005. Overall, between 1996 and 2005, the number of Americans of all ages who suffer from 3 or more chronic diseases increased by 86%. Chronic diseases are like obesity, hypertension, cancer, diabetes, those diseases, they shot up by 86% over a period of less than 10 years, from 1996 to 2005. Okay? And in the past decade alone, the incidence of diabetes has grown by 90%. And this is in the States. But in Kenya, the rates are almost similar. People are getting diabetes right, left, and center. Okay? And it's a chronic disease. It's a disease that you have to manage with medicine. If you go to hospital, if you don't, you have to get the right diet. So welcome to this study, and let's continue. On top of that, two-thirds of adults are either overweight or obese, and obesity rates for children have doubled over the past 30 years. More than 24 million Americans suffer from diabetes, most cases of which are a result of the same poor diet that led to their obesity. And this number will only increase. An estimated 54 million Americans are experiencing pre-diabetic symptoms. These are things like frequent urination, feeling thirsty, weight loss. Those are pre-diabetic symptoms. A growing number of people are becoming aware that lifestyle choices can have a powerful effect on their health, and paramount among these choices is nutrition. Nutrition is very, very important. Even when you're on a diet, for sure 80% is nutrition, of the outcome will be affected by nutrition, and exercise will affect like 20%. So nutrition is so key. A growing number of people are becoming aware of lifestyle choices, that lifestyle choices can have a powerful effect on their health, and paramount among these choices is nutrition. However, in spite of this knowledge, most people are still eating a health-destroying diet rich in fatty, salty, sugary junk, and animal-based foods. Well, yeah, we are really doing that. So we're taking milk and eggs and meat and so many other things. Unfortunately, the link between diet and health is not well understood by many doctors who are not required to take courses on nutrition in school and who therefore rely on pills and procedures to treat patients. So doctors don't really do nutrition, they just study pharmacology and anatomy and the like. Furthermore, vested interest in food and agriculture industries have spent millions of dollars each year on marketing that discourages people from associating bad health with bad food. Can you believe it? Like they are working on content, on advertising, such that people will not relate bad health to bad food. They just think it just happens, yeah? And that is the food and agricultural industry. So the pharmaceutical industry, the other industry that controls everything, which promotes the use of drugs over food for maintaining health, retains 1,585 lobbyists. Did you hear how many there are? Yes, on whom it spends over $241 million per year. So these lobbyists, they are doing what? They are promoting drugs over health or over food for achieving health, the appropriate health outcome. Okay, so the answer is let's go back. But could the answer to our health problems be a relatively straightforward one? Could it be that the best way to promote health and to avoid these diseases isn't to take large quantities of medicine or to rely on complicated medical procedures? The answer is yes. It's yes. The formula for good health may be as simple as this: eating whole foods, a plant-based diet. That's why the world of Forks Over Knives is all about. It's a message that is resonating with audiences nationwide. So what is a plant-based diet? What is a plant-based diet? You might ask. A plant-based diet is a very simple one. It's a very simple one. It consists of avoiding anything that came from a source that ever had a face or a mother. That's the easiest way. If it had a face or a mother, you avoid it. In other words, avoiding all meat, including fish, and then dairy and eggs, because dairy comes from animals like cows and goats or sheep, and then eggs also come from chicken. Okay, what you do eat are the best foods that Mother Nature offers. You eat grains. You might ask me, what will I eat? You eat grains, you eat fruits, you eat vegetables, you eat legumes, you eat nuts. There's so many options, often regulated to the side dishes by a meat-devouring American public. These foods actually create the best tasting and most nutritious meals possible. And I'm telling you, it's true. You see how when you make like eggplant, carrot mix or something like that, it tastes so good. For example, if you make a mushroom soup, it's so delicious. So a healthy plant-based diet is composed of whole foods. That means avoiding refined foods such as olive oil and white bread and staying away from artificial foods with chemical additives. In other words, a plant-based diet is centered on foods that come from whole and refined plants, as Dr. John McDowell on page 52 says, is a right diet for humans, and it is based on one key principle: eat plants. It isn't just Dr. McDowell who believes this. Another famous thinker, Charles Darwin, said the normal food of man is vegetable. That's the normal. Vegetables. Okay, so if you're there, we're just doing this for 30 minutes. I'm hoping in 30 minutes I'll have read 10 pages. So yeah, I've read quite a few. Let's keep going. Okay, so here are some key principles on plant-based whole food Forks Over Knife diet. Eat plants. Eat plants. The more intact, the better. And not just any plants. Eat whole, minimally refined fruit, vegetables, grains, and legumes. The closer you get to the plant as it exists in nature, the best. Natural plant-based foods provide all the essential nutrients needed for a well-balanced and healthy diet, as there are no nutrients found in animal-based foods that are not abundantly available in plant foods. Did you hear that? There's nothing that you get from an animal that you can't get from a plant-based diet, but it is not a healthy plant-based diet. So you have to know how to combine it such that you get the nutrients that you need. Okay, so other than vitamin B12, which you find in animal food products, everything else can be naturally found in plants. So if you're growing plants and you're growing them well, there are no nutrients found in animal-based foods that are not abundantly available in plants. So this means a diet of potato chip, pretzels, dairy-free pastries, low-calorie soda, may technically be a plant-based diet, but it's not a healthy plant-based diet. Again, you have to look at how much has it been processed, how close is it to the original form of the plant. So another point, avoid overly processed foods. These are foods that include, among other things, bleached flour, refined sugar, and extracted oils. White flours and sugar, most oils do not come from plants. They have been stripped of most of the nutritional properties they once had. And then, although some of the nutritionists recommend olive oil, why cook with a more concentrated form of fat on the planet when you can choose from many other liquid oils? So olives, they are wonderful foods, yeah, but the oil can be problematic. So stick around to find why is the oil problematic. But okay, let me tell you, the reason is because oil is 100% pure fat, just fat. This means that in the case of olive oil, for instance, the manufacturers have taken whole olives, squeezed out and chemically extracted the good parts, the healthy fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and then left you with little more than the concentrated dose of calories. Just calories, yeah? They just give you calories. So, for example, olive oil contains close to 4,100 calories per 16 ounces. That is a small amount, but it has 4,000 calories. Okay, so avoid preservatives. The other point is to avoid preservatives and additives. There's no brainer. It's a no-brainer. Why would you load up your diet with anything artificial when you can be eating whole foods that do not need additives to make them taste so great? So that's a question. But the answer is you shouldn't be taking preservatives and additives. Yeah. So we'll stop at that. We are almost at the 30 minutes mark. Or I finished this chapter. We are almost done. Okay. Let me read 2 more pages. The other pointer is to eliminate dairy. Dairy has a protein called casein, which is found in cow milk, and it is one of the most potent chemical carcinogens ever identified. If you want to learn more, you can still check on page 20 of this book. So dietary or dairy products increase the risk of coronary diseases. I know we do take milk in my household, but it does increase the risk of coronary diseases, okay? And the cow's milk in particular has been linked with increase in cancer, juvenile diabetes, multiple sclerosis, and many other conditions, okay? So humans have no nutritional need for cow's milk. Cow milk is designed for what? For a baby calf with adequate nutrients to grow up to 70 pounds, from 70 pounds to around 1,000 pounds in an year. And the claim that the extra calcium provided by milk supports strong bones is simply not founded. And bone degeneration is almost always higher in populations consuming higher amounts of animal-based foods, including dairy. So when you're taking dairy, you're actually more likely to develop bone issues. Yeah. Because that calcium that we say is available, it is bound and can only be released through certain chemical, what do you call them, processes in the body. So you find that it's not easy to release those chemicals, and you might just find that milk is not working for you. For example, that's why we have lactose intolerant people. Yeah, they can't handle the lactose in milk, right? Okay, then don't worry about carbohydrates. Nearly everyone has had that low carbohydrate diets that they are fashionable for years. Yeah, most of us have had. They're fashionable for years, but they are not necessarily healthy. In fact, carbohydrates are the body's preferred energy source, so it is important to eat carbohydrate-rich foods. just for your own strength. So you eat a carbohydrate foods. You can do mangoes, broccoli, and pastries are high carbohydrate foods, but mangoes and broccoli are obviously much better for you, okay, as opposed to pastries. If you eat cakes and cookies made with white flour and sugar, you'll experience rapid rises in blood sugar levels, increased insulin response, and weight gain. If you eat whole plant foods like fruits, whole grain, and vegetables, you'll thrive on high carbohydrate diet. And as an added bonus, these foods are high in fiber, which provides a feeling of fullness. You feel fuller for longer. And then also satiety, we call it satiety. Eating high fiber foods almost always reduces the overall number of calories consumed in a day, and so you are able to achieve your weight loss goals. Okay, so we're going to stop at that, and then we'll continue and look at another section tomorrow. All right, thanks so much for joining this live. See you on the next one.